Oh, hi. Yeah. How's that? Is that better? Is that good? What do you think? Yeah. Okay, what I was saying is hello. Yeah, hello. Hello, and welcome to everybody. It's June 3rd. I think I'm doing exactly what I did before when there wasn't any sound. Did you see how fast we fixed that? And can we give it up for Stephanie Cake, who alerted me to the fact that there was no sound before? Cake, how are you doing?
I am doing great, but you know what, Mary?
Yeah.
When I have streamed on Twitch, I don't have a me, so I've done like whole hours with no sound.
Welcome to the live streaming. You know, it is really something, like the learning curve for doing this kind of thing. I mean, it's a whole different kind of media, you know? Can you put your Twitch channel in the chat? I mean, there's catching up I have to do for the know-it-alls. There's catching up I have to do for you. There's just lots of catching up to do. Maybe one day I'll just I don't know, maybe at this point there's so many podcasts and like amazing content out there. People should have like a content, like National Content Day, you know, like Labor Day, Memorial Day, you know, Content Day. And that's all you do. And it's a national holiday, so you can catch up on all the things that you love to listen to or watch, like Quilt Nerd, because people get behind. Because you know, this show is on twice a week, sometimes more than that. Because there's so much to say about the world of quilts and quilt culture, and we have a really great community here, and we like to talk about stuff and look at things and travel. We were in New York, we were in Boston just last week. In fact, well, no, I was home this time last week. I actually don't remember, but was I? Anyway, but we went to 2 museums and all kinds of fun things. And so content is a stream. I think it was Marcus Aurelius that said, "Time is a violent stream." Well, Quilt Nerd is a delightful live stream. There you go. That was a deep cut.
I do.
Yeah.
I invented Post-its.
Anyway, so welcome to the show. This is not a presentation. It's an exploration. That's what we do here. I don't lecture you about quilt history. I don't present, some kind of, it's not like a prepared lecture or a presentation. I find amazing things in books and on the internet. Some topics are suggested to me. Some content is suggested to me. And sometimes I just let my fingers do the walking, and I look at videos and things, and I think, oh yeah, that would be great. I want to watch that or read that or look at those quilts with the Quilt Nerds. And so on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central, we go live and we do it together. Basically, I just want to do my research on quilts with you. That's it. That was the whole idea behind this whole thing. I see amazing stuff when I'm researching and writing and doing all kinds of things that I do in the quilt world, and it's really lonely. In fact, the more I do it with you all, the more I realize what a drag it was to do it all by myself. So that's what this is. And I see people in the chat, and I'm so happy to see people. We have so much to do tonight that I'm not going to call the roll, as my grandmother would say. But Miss Schral, I saw you. Jay Danseur, I saw you coming in. Word and Bird Nerd, girl. Jill is so welcome here, and Dee Dee Brew Crew. Bip Palumbo, it's great to see you. Grits and Butter, a nun maker. L Riggs, yes. Eva, Salad Zone, and Slim Quilt Pants. KP Sews. Katie Porter, could it be you? Probably not. So anyway, Hiroko, hi. Hiroko, are you? No, you've been here before. We've seen Hiroko. Hiro, you're old friends. We go way back now. But welcome to the show. Robin, God bless you, Robin, for helping people with subscriptions. Babe. Saw you having a subscription question. You're in good hands with Robin. Yeah, subscriptions, they're tough. But if you really love, I'm not talking to you, babe, specifically, but if you love the show, if you watch it each week, if you get something from it, I hope you'll subscribe. Just today, one of the videos we're going to watch tonight is from PBS. And I realized today that I hadn't renewed my PBS Passport subscription. It's $10 a month. And for $10 a month, I get all of the PBS stuff, right, on the Passport. I mean, that's a lot of stuff, but for $10, oh my God, Eva just resubscribed for 3 months. Oh my God, Hero, you just resubscribed for 8 months. Oh my God, L Riggs, wait a minute, you just gifted. Oh my, okay, let's let the kitten.
Yes, L Riggs gifted for the kitten.
Oh, let's just let
it.
let's just let it, Lady Hawk. Oh, Lady Hawk, I love your name. We love this kitten so much. L. Riggs, you are the best. I need to figure out some way to, like, get a kitten plaque to Lisa. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get a good screenshot
like
of that kitten.
The YouTube plaque, yes. All of our top gifters, because we have a number. Yes, the top gifters should get a kitten plaque.
You know what? That is going to happen. I can do that. I can print out the kitten. It will happen. You have heard me. It is my solemn vow. I mean, the gift subscriptions are amazing. So if you just got a gift subscription, you can use the tier 1 emotes, which are really fun. You can, you're entered into the giveaway for the month. We do one every month. And yeah, if you stick around, you can, like, get access to the Discord, which is sort of like the show when the show's not on. It's a good time. We have a really good time here. And it's amazing to see over the time the show has been on, connections that are forming between people. Some people are working together. Some people are researching together. Other people, like Stephanie Cake, are now presenting at the major quilt research conference, AQSG seminar in October. Yeah.
I'm kind of special.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys know I said that with a sarcastic face.
She did, but I did not.
I still can't believe that I'm going to present to some of, like, the OGs of quilt study.
You are. And some of the OGs of quilt study might be watching and be reminded that they should come to your study center. The American Quilt Study Group has their big show and seminar in end of September, and it'll be in Louisville this year, and I hope that you will come to it and support Stephanie Cake and just enjoy this amazing conference. It's so much fun. Okay, so we've got so much to do. Lisa, I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for gifting those subscriptions, and you will be getting a sewing kitten plaque with your name on it. It might be drawn. It might be handwritten with your name, but it will be the kitten. And we appreciate you. Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's do some things, yeah? What is this quilt behind me? Hey, oh my gosh, Finn McCool's mom. It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And everybody who is around, welcome baskets in the chat for Finn McCool's mom. I love that. Welcome. We love a first-time chatter, and we love our lurkers too. But however you watch the show, I'm really glad that you're here. So welcome. Okay, let me get small. Help, I'm small. I could be smaller. Let me just cut myself down to size here. Okay, great. So it's Pride Month. Happy Pride, have pride in yourself. God, it's hard. Oh, it's so hard. And then if you're feeling oppressed, it's really hard. So happy Pride, Happy Pride. And so I thought, well, what am I going to do? I could sort of mark that or at least sort of have that in mind when I picked the intro quilt, which changes every show. And I have had this quilt on my desktop for some time. I love it so much. This quilt is, I'm going to hide the chat here for just a second because the quilt is very, it's sort of a piece, right? And hey, Angelina. Hey, Ivy. And so, but I need your help on this. This is a classic example of how this show is a collaboration, right? It's not just me telling you things. It's me learning along with you. So I don't know who these people are. Okay, but let me tell you who made this quilt. The person who made this quilt is Ulva Ugerup. So Ulva, U-L-V-A, and her last name is U-G-E-R-U-P. Ulva Ugerup, or Ugerup. She is from Sweden. This quilt is called Sailing, and it was made in, you know what? Guess. I want people to guess. When do you think this quilt was made? And let's zoom in a little bit and see some of this wonderful stitching. Just take a guess. Hey, MHEX, take a guess. And if you know who, okay, Cranky McNopants, I love that. I saw you say something about the name. You gave yourself the name during the pandemic. I love it. I think you should keep it forever. I love it. 1973, says Cranky. My Great Cats, 1983. 1975, says Finn McCool's mom. Hope Quilts, 1995. Dee Dee says 2019. Very recent for Dee Dee. Let me zoom out a little bit. Jan Make Stuff says 1972. She's all up in the 1970s for this. Oh, look at this face. 2020, says Kathy. Kathy's like, this is new. So, very good guesses. Hey, Garnet. 1980, says Garnet Letters. This quilt was made in 1970. 1970, and I gotta tell you, I was surprised. I don't know. I mean, I think the face and the raw edge applique and just kind of the look of the thing, frankly, looks more contemporary to our time. But this quilt is...
And
Yes.
Would we say those are oyster shells? Oysters?
Well, that is
oyster shells?
That's a good... I mean, they look a little like tears to me, but I didn't even think about oyster shells. So yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. So it's just, I mean, I think there's Olva's name here. So this quilt, by the way, is in this book, Art Quilts Unfolding, which is a wonderful book. 50 Years of Innovation. Sandra Sider, the great Sandra Sider, was the editor, and Nancy Bevore, Lisa Ellis, and Martha Seelman put this together, authored the book. It's a SAQA publication. We love SAQA. There's so many things to belong to, so many organizations who are doing great stuff for quilts. And I know you can't belong to everything, but if you're an art person and you're into quilts, yeah, SAQA, it's good stuff. So this is a quilt that is featured on the SAQA website. So anyway, so I was looking for, information about this quilt. Does anyone know? I mean, Mary Sellers feels like suffragette. Like I don't know who it is. Anybody? I feel like Sherlock sews. Between Sherlock and... Hey, Ivy went to a SAQA meeting today. That's cool. Between Kathy and... Sherlock, I feel like... I mean, everyone knows a million things out there. It's a very smart audience. But, okay. There's Sherlock coming in for the win. Hebe is the Greek goddess of youth. Interesting. And so I mentioned pride, and this isn't, specifically, a pride quilt, but it's a banner type thing, which, banners and banner quilts, protest quilts, things like that. This is a great tradition, in the textile tradition. And then also, women, right? Women, the L in the LGBTQ, like women, okay? Women. So if you have more information about these people, Helen of Troy, Eva, I wondered the same thing. Figurehead, yep. Slim quilt pants. Indeed. You're gonna love this show. Okay, so Eva, yeah. And here's what we're gonna do. I have a 30-second clip of Eva herself saying something amazing, and this is what it is. Let me see. Oh yeah, so here's the there's the entry in SAQA. Okay, you ready for this? Watch this. So this is a 30-second clip of Ulva Ugarup giving us all advice for life.
What is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given as an artist?
I think the same advice that my uncle gave to me. You decide what you want to do, and then you do it. I have heard other artists say the same in interviews on television. I decide what I want to do, and then I do it.
Amazing. I mean, okay, cool. So that is Ulva. You decide what you want to do, and then you do it. She's not German, but yes. So cool. So that's our intro quilt tonight. Random and that's Princess Diana. My friend Jonathan sent that to me the other day. She's great, right, Dee Dee? I mean, Princess Diana, but also Ulva. Yeah, Princess Diana on a quilt. Jonathan, thanks for sending that to me. I found it online. It seems that Harry took that of her. Harry, people know him by his first name. We know these people by their first name. Harry. But yeah. Doesn't she look happy when she's on that quilt? It looks maybe prefabricated. I don't know that it's real, but I don't know that it's made by someone that she knows. Let's put it that way. But either way, it's so cute. So cute. I don't know. This is the kind of stuff you see on Quilt Nerd. That's it. Angelina, Ulva was giving Margaret Fabrizio vibes. 1,000%. Okay, so last week, I didn't even mention it, I don't think, but I stayed longer in New York. Actually, I went to New Jersey, and I spent a couple days over the weekend with one of my best friends in the entire world, my soul's sister, if you will, Sarah, and in New Jersey at her house. It was incredible. She was like, Fonzie, when do you leave New York? And I was like, tomorrow. And she was like, no, because I don't have the kids this weekend. Seth's taking him to Florida to visit mom, and she's like, I wish you could stay. And I was like, you know what? Me too. So I did. And when I went to her house in New Jersey, I saw something that made my heart stop in the best possible way. This is Sarah's bedroom. I didn't actually ask her if I could put this on the internet, but it's fine. That is the quilt that is on the cover of my book that I wrote about quilts. I mean, it's a book of patterns that I did in, 9,000 years ago with C&T. And, I really like that book. It's great. I'd write a different book today, but I wrote that book, or put that book together, there's not a lot of writing in it, but, anyway. So that's the cover, and the cover quilt. And I have to tell you, I was reminded that I gave it to Sarah and Seth, for their home, for their wedding. And so they have it on the bed still. Now, it's possible that they put it on the bed for me when I, yes, you know. It happens, people. It happens. And you can't be that upset about it. I don't think that's the case. But even if they pulled it out, what do you think, Kate?
Yeah. And even if they pulled it out of the cover just to put it on the bed, just to show you, at least it's still in their house.
Exactly. They didn't,
It is not at Goodwill.
It's not at Goodwill. The dog did not, well, they don't have a dog, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, it was really cool to see that. And I just love this person. Because I was like, she's my soul sister. And I was like, no, let's make it really specific. She is my soul's sister. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So it reminded me that we have a Quilt Nerd on Parade coming up. How appropriate, right? Because the next Quilt Nerd on Parade, which is on June 20th, I'll show you the date here in just a second. The next version of Quilt Nerds on Parade is the In Situ show. The extreme In Situ show. And this was, I finally know how to use the Latin term in situ because of Stephanie. And I noticed when I was making this card, in situ, it's like situation, in the situation. Right. Okay. So it's like quilts in your life, quilts in the world, quilts being used in the world. So this example, of Sarah having the quilt on the bed, this is a quilt in situ. So the Quilt Nerd on Parade shows, they feature your quilts, your projects, but we've never done this show. And it's a great idea, Steph. Do you have a picture? Do you have a quilt that you're going to?
I'm trying to think. I've taken pictures of my bed with the quilt that's on it right now, and it's a reproduction that I didn't make, so
that works. I have one of the Smithsonian quilts on my bed right now, the bride's quilt. It's gorgeous. I love it. Okay, well, if you don't have one perfect for this time around, it's okay, because there's only 15 slots. I know a guy, we can get you in the show, but there's just 15. We have to limit it, because sometimes the Quilt Nerd on Parade shows, they become 2 shows. It's just, you think it's not a lot of work to put a show like that together, because it's like the content comes to me, comes to us, but Robin does the form, and then I got to do the stuff. It's a pretty involved show. So if you want to send a picture of a quilt in situ in your life, or someone, it doesn't have, just a quilt in situ. It could be something that you love. I don't know, maybe it's your parents' house or your brother's house or your kid's house, or in having a picnic on it, whatever it is. Quilts in the world, quilts out in the wild. 15 slots. The deadline to get these in is the 14th of June. You got to get those forms in. And so Robin and Steph, together we can get you links and you can fill out the form, and then you can have your quilt on the show. And it'll be really fun. The Quilt Nerd on Parade shows are a blast. They are a total blast. And then very, very quickly, I just want to say, and then then we're going right into the first chunk of the show. Every month we do, for the tier 2 and tier 3 subscribers, we do a Sunday social, and that's a private stream for the tier 2 and tier 3 folks, and something really fun always happens. And there's a giveaway. There was a giveaway last month, and there's a giveaway this month. I have some UFOs, and some of them are kind of cool, and so I took pictures of them. They're terrible pictures, but this is a quilt top. I made it. I don't know. I'll show these more fully. I don't know, maybe on the Discord or something. But I found these projects that I worked on, and I think my mom and I worked on these. I didn't have time to iron them. Okay, this is pretty big. This thing. I mean, it's bigger than a bread box, And so we're gonna draw the tier 2 and tier 3 people. We're gonna draw. I mean, look at this thing. I think maybe Mom and I made this for TV or something. I don't know. It's definitely the size, a cute little dog could have a dog bed, or a dog quilt. It's really cute. And then this thing, I don't know what this was for, but this is big, and the green screen is gonna decimate this thing. But I mean, this is kind of I don't know. Anyway, so giveaway. So if you subscribe at tier 2 and tier 3, let me tell you, it really keeps the lights on around here, and you also get to have fun stuff. So, okay, those are the worst pictures I've ever seen. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. You ready? You ready for the first segment of the show? Maybe Act 2. Last week, there was a little round table at the New England Quilt Museum, and we discussed the quilt nerds who came, Saucy Stitcher and Jill Alexander, and Stephanie Cake wasn't there yet, but in spirit she was, and then Slim Quilt Pants and Salad Zone. We all met at the New England Quilt Museum and had a private
and Ivy,
thing.
Don't forget Ivy.
Oh, Ivy! Oh my God, I knew there was someone. Okay, and Ivy. So we watched that round table last week, or on Tuesday maybe, and I asked people, what do you like to see on Quilt Nerd? What are your favorite things? And Slim Quilt Pants, you said that you really liked the shows when we analyze quilts, we look at some, and we try to figure out how the construction. Because Slim, I happen to know, is a newer quilter, and you mentioned that. And so, so construction is always interesting to a quilt maker, most of the time, maybe even someone who just studies quilts or collects them or is a dealer of them. It's how did they? Mom and I always like to find the block in a quilt that we're looking at. And so we do that here. It's one of the first things we did on this show so long ago. So this one's for Slim. I took a screenshot from the video. Slim, this one's for you. We're going to look at some disparate quilts to see how together, to wonder how they went together. Oh, the panda is hugging you if I move out of the way. So it was a great suggestion, and I'm really glad to know what you like, Okay, so I pulled some, like I said, disparate things. So we're Abe Books affiliates here on Quilt Nerd. We Abe Books affiliates. It's there's multiple things, but most of the books, most of them, not the Art Quilts Unfolding book tonight, but most of the books that we use on the show are out of print. They're old, dusty, and fabulous. And so if you use a link that Steph puts in the chat to buy any of the books that you see on the show, number one, most of them are very inexpensive through Abe Books, and number two, we get a little kickback. It's not a lot, but it does add up over time, and maybe pays for lunch when we go to New York or something like that. She doesn't pay for lunch in New York, but anyway, it's nice, and I would appreciate it. So tonight, the books that we have, like I've got three. I pulled some quilts from 3 different books. World War II quilts. Yes, World War II quilts. How interesting. Angelina, old, dusty, and fabulous. Goals. Oh God, I love you. That's champagne and ducks. Okay, that was a good call. And then there's one quilt from Quilt Treasures of Great Britain, the Heritage Search of the Quilters Guild of the British Isles. Fabulous. There's just one from there. And then, Slim, you're gonna love this. The Quilt Maker's Art. Yes, a deep cut. This is Contemporary Quilts and Their Makers, edited by Joanne Matera. And this, look at this, isn't this sad? Wait a minute. Oh no, there's another one. A lot of my books say discarded, like from the library. It's like, we don't want it anymore. This was 1982 by Lark Books. Anyway, really, really very cool. All right. So let's take a look. How were they constructed? How were they made? I was looking through some books and saying to myself, look for quilts that might be worth investigating in terms of construction, right? Especially I had to think like a beginner. I had to have the beginner's mind, because when you make some quilts and you look at enough patterns, at least you can see the block, or you kind of know, like, okay, that's a flying goose unit, or that's a square and a square unit, or whatnot. But if you're really new, it's all new. And so let's together look at these. Let's together look at these quilts. Okay, so this is a victory quilt. Ruby McKim, the famous canonical Ruby McKim, quilt designer and entrepreneur in the 1940s and beyond. But 1945, Ruby McKim designed this victory quilt. It was made in 1945. She might have designed it earlier than that, but this particular quilt was made in 1945. And we can see the blocks, probably. These star shapes are all the same. So it is a block-based quilt, I would guess. Sometimes I have a little my computer can't catch up with the speed of the Quilt Nerd analysis. So V for victory, exactly. Pants in a circle, indeed. Yes, and so the way the V's are cut off, the way the V's are, what am I trying to say? It's geometric, the delineation on the V's, it's not irregular, it's very regular. So the block, it's, can I turn this thing? I want to turn this thing like on point. Slim, do you see the block? Do you see that it's like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job. Let me see if I can turn this just a little bit. This might be weird, but I'm going to try it, okay? Oh, I'm so good. Oh my God, that's so satisfying. Oh, I did it. Okay, so you can see like the, that's the block. And you make it in a square, But Stephanie Cake, help me here. What do you do then? Like once how does this go together, this block? Gah.
So my best guess would be that each block is also put together and it's like 4 quarters, because you can see like the crotch of the V.
Yeah. Yes.
Because Ivy just said they look like little pants, and I'm like, yeah, they do look like little pants.
They do.
So there's like the crotch of the V has a seam.
Oh,
so
yes.
I think that, so it's each side of the V, and then there's that white wedge in there. And then when they put those 4 quarters together, then it makes the whole thing. And then I bet they applique that circle on. You think?
Yes.
Does it look like it's
yes,
on?
I absolutely do. So what you're saying, hold on. Whoa. So what you're saying is, I think I can draw a line. I don't think we've done that before. Hang on. I think we can draw.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be good? Okay, let's see. Okay, paint. Oh yeah, pencil. Ooh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're saying, oh wow, that's a thick line. Hang on one second. Hang on. Tool. Just hang on. This could be very good. Circle text. Rectangle line. Okay. Oh, there's a seam right there. That's what you're saying, right? There's a seam. Okay. And that goes all the way through the pants, through the crotch of the pants.
Yes.
Right. And then...
And it's really hard to tell. JB just asked, like, is there a seam in that white part?
Right.
I can't
it's
see
hard,
that,
it's
but...
hard to tell.
I
feel like, okay, here's what, I think...
I feel like there has to be.
I do too. I think maybe what it is you make the V portions. You make 4 of the crotch of the pants. You make the 4 pairs of pants with a crotch in the seam, or the seam in the crotch. And then those white pieces in between are templates. They have to be, right? Templates, and then you, then you do the inset seam thing. And then you have your square block. And then you float them. That's the term my mom would use anyway. You float them by putting totally white squares, just white patches basically in between each block. Can you just snowball those triangles? Interesting. Ooh, that's an interesting question. Sorry. Jacom jellies. But is there no seam in the white part under the crotch? Did you just say that? I think you just read that stuff. Yeah, okay. But is there no seam under the crotch? Anyway, so, and here's the thing. When we look at, how stuff goes together, things can go together in different ways. But this one I thought was a puzzle, it was pretty interesting. I think we identified the crotch. Sorry. And the applique circle, so you don't have to worry about, adding a circle into an inset seam pinwheel thing. But it is all just shapes. And I don't know, drafting a quilt pattern, or some people can take off a shirt that they wear, and you can probably do that, Stephanie, and then draft it. She goes like this. She's like, yeah.
No. I was nodding. Yeah, some people can do that, and then you go, you can do that. No, I can't.
Okay. I was like,
I have to use a pattern.
Yeah. Okay. Steph has to use a pattern. I can't. I can't. So close it all. But yeah. Okay. So some people can take off a piece of clothing and then just make a pattern from it, by looking at it or something. And so, it's the same with quilts. Some people can kind of look at a quilt and figure out the pattern for it and make a pattern. But a piece of graph paper, is still how mom kind of drafts stuff out. And you don't have to have a fancy computer program to figure it out, and just ask somebody for help maybe. So anyway, I've got I've got 2 more quilts from this World War II book, one from the Great Britain one, and then some art quilts. But this one I thought was fun, to look at, because it's not complicated. But that's the thing, is when you're a new quilter and you want to design your own stuff, you might not have a super complicated quilt. Slim, you're very advanced. You're very advanced already. And you went to art school, so maybe you've done drafting stuff probably. But I love this quilt. It's another Victory quilt. It's a child's quilt. It was made in 1941. By a maker we don't know the name of. Hey, Roxanne, Madrid in the house. Are you kidding me? Roxanne, it's great to see you. It is great. Bridgewater in VA is here. Hey, y'all, I went drinking first. You know what? Listen, girl, I've got a little wine tonight. I do. It's Saturday night. It's my treat. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. This is great. And Roxanne, I'm so glad you're here from Spain. Eric is in London at the moment, and a good friend of mine is in France. Everyone's in Europe, including you. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Okay. So this is, this is an interesting one. Roxanne and Stephanie Bridgewater were talking about construction tonight. How do these quilts go together? And this is interesting because this quilt, am I mistaken? These are patches, right? If I was going to make this quilt, and it would take me a long time to figure out exactly what to cut, like how, like what measurements and things it would be a disaster, to be honest, without help from someone. But I would try to do strip sets, right? Like what that means is I would try to make, for example, this blue and aqua and blue stripe that's going around that center diamond. I would probably make a lot of that. I'd cut long strips and I would sew a big strip set with that and then cut it to fit around the other diamond, or I would do something like that. But I can't tell. Those are seams, right? Are these all diamonds? Yeah?
I think so. Definitely that purpley and that light blue in the middle, that is definitely, I mean, that's like almost how you make Lone Star.
Yes.
You know, do a Lone Star is you have those like really, those diamondy diamonds, and I'm terrible. You guys know the angles. I can never remember.
Yeah, oh my God, I can't either.
Yeah, like you'd start
45?
with those, but it's like, 45? Yeah, no. Diamonds aren't 45. Diamonds are like
60?
60 and
I think 60.
Yeah, I think it's like 60 and whatever the wide one is.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
60 and 60 is 120, and then like whatever the rest of 360 is.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, 60 degree diamonds, you guys know.
Great.
Yeah, and that's weird. Like I totally would do strips.
Right, me
You know,
too.
and like almost log cabinet, right? You know, kind of like make it log
Exactly.
cabin style.
Exactly.
But yeah, this looks like
it's all diamonds.
it makes me wonder, maybe they were gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna make a really awesome Lone Star, and then they went, oh F, this is terrible. I'm just gonna do this wild thing.
Exactly. And I have a lot of blue and there's a war on, so let's grab some red. Yeah, it's I mean, I made a quilt one time so much harder than it needed to be. I mean, I can't even talk about it, but like somebody looked at it, another quilter looked at it when I was finished, like the binding was finished, and they were like, oh, like you did those units, so many of them, you could have just done this. I mean, if you're ever sewing the same fabric to itself in a quilt, you know what I'm saying? If you're ever like sewing the pink solid to another piece of pink solid, you probably could do it in a different way. Maybe not, but probably you could do it in an easier way, because anyway, this is an interesting quilt. I love it, first of all, and it's a child's quilt, so it's not very big. I don't know why I don't have the measurements for it, but yeah, child's victory quilt. And by the way, the red V's on the side, totally appliqued. So I mean, that seems clear to me that they were appliqued on. It's visually fabulous. I love that it's tied. I think children's quilts that are tied are great. Oh God, making the ties secure and everything. Oh God, I don't want to be like, oh God, I don't know, but it's a lovely quilt. I should probably leave it there, because I don't know anything about child safety stuff on that. Let's continue. Okay, and so this is the last one. So this is exciting, because this is included in the Great Sue Reich's book, okay? It's a mountain mist pattern. And when I saw this, and it's included, surely, I mean, well, obviously for a reason, but there is, so Mountain Mist, was this prolific producer of quilt patterns. I mean, for a long time, many years, definitely 1940. I should know when Mountain Mist was the most active, but they're still around, a great batting company, and they were so brilliant because they printed quilt patterns on the label, on the packaging of their batting, so it's just like feed sacks. The feed sack people printed their feed sacks with beautiful patterns because they knew that they could sell more feed if they had really attractive sacks, because women would want to buy them because they were using the feed sack material in quilts and in clothes and aprons and stuff. So it was a great marketing move. Same with Mountain Mist and the batting wrappers with the quilt patterns. So this one, so Mountain Mist quilts, Sue Reich says, Stearns and Foster, manufacturers of Mountain Mist batting. And there was a book they published, A Chronicle of Our Employees in the Uniformed Services During World War II. And the account was printed as a hardbound book. It included letters from employees of Mountain Mist who were called, Stearns and Foster, who were called to the battlefield, memorials to Gold Star employees who were killed in the war, encouragement to buy war bonds and stamps, give blood, and to comply with rationing regulations and price ceilings. Wow, the book expressed with words and design the pride of this American company's sacrifice and contribution to the war effort. This is a great book. You should have a copy. There's amazing quilts in it, and Sue Reich is a great writer. So how did this quilt go together? Let's zoom in, because OMG, like, oh no. What do I have to do to make this quilt? Oh my God. I mean, this, yeah, Eva, it's a great story. It's a great story. This, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I shall leave it to you. I mean, let me zoom out a little bit so you can, well, no, I think I'm going to zoom in on, yeah, I think I'm going to zoom in because it's kind of a hint in a way. Let me scoot it over here. So give me your thoughts. I shall eat a chip. Yeah. Steph, what do you think?
So this one, I think the way this one goes together actually is pretty simple. Obviously you've got your half square triangle. Yeah. And then the block with the little flower thing, those are just strips. And if any of you have ever made a Elizabeth Hartman quilt, she does a lot of stuff with animals. But a lot of her things are built this way, where you have like a strip or a block, and you like, do like the thing where you put the square, and then you draw the line, and then you flip it. Like, we just said something about flip and stitch and flip or something like that.
Yeah, stitch and flip. Somebody else said that.
And then you just build those, you would just build those little strips up until you have those flowers.
Yep. So,
but my gosh, how many blocks are there with those flowers? Like, you'd have to do that over and over and over.
Well, we are going to see, because I have a picture of the pattern, or at least the diagram. And by the way, when
Lori Holt's stuff is like this too, very similar.
Yeah. Lori Holt, yeah, totally. When folks are saying half square triangles, just for people who are new, I tried to draw a square. I wanted to get like a big fat red line. I wish I could draw on the screen, but it's what you're looking at right here. This is a big half square triangle, okay? That green and white, just that bisected square, half square triangle. And there's this quilting in it, so that kind of makes it more fancy, But then the other block is this. It's the same size as the half square triangle with these two little flowers in it. So now, and I mean, the effect is pretty awesome. Ooh, that's a lot of little bitty things. So here is the diagram for it. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to do this. Nope, I want to do this. Yeah. So that is the construction. So you make little dazzling, right, babe? Yeah, you make those strips, and I assume you'd have, I mean, paper piecing is how I would do. Yeah, I would paper piece it, right? I mean, I could not cut all those tiny little things. I love paper piecing. Some people don't like it, but
yeah, I'm not a fan. I like English paper piecing, but foundation paper piecing, forget about it. And I know a lot of people love it. It's not for me, especially when you've got triangles going on. Oh, yeah. But I think, see, the thing is, and you guys are calling it snowballing. I get what you're talking about. It's basically where you're knocking the corners off a square.
Yeah.
But that is the way these strips are done. And it is pretty easy if you're working with, like, all the measurements. Like, you start with, like, a strip that's X number of inches long, and then you're, like, on the ends of it, you're putting the little green, diamond triangle. Right. And you just work your way across the strip. It would make sense to me, but I would need to know the measurements. Like, do those triangles on the ends, does that start with a 1 inch square? You know what I mean? And how wide are those other things?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, God. To draft this without the pattern. I mean, to put it together. And by the way, what a great design. I mean, what you were just saying, these green bits on the end of the block, like, how innovative is that? They didn't have to do that. You see, everybody, what I'm talking about? This piece. Like, they ran those the little vine, basically, or the taller. It's like a little sawtooth. Yeah. It's like a little sawtooth edge. And yeah, it totally makes it, like, if that wasn't there, this quilt wouldn't be that striking. Exactly. It's that, and it's almost as though, like, there's two flowers in the frame, and it's almost like there's a third taller flower just out of the frame, right? It's so good. Now, you know, the brilliant Linda Pumphrey, who has been with Mountain Mist for a very long time, and she's so wonderful, and she's on the acquisitions committee and the board of the International Quilt Museum. She wrote a book about Mountain Mist patterns, and I think this pattern might be in there. Hang on one second. Her book is right over here. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, here it is. And I think we have an A-Books link for this, don't we, Steph? The Mountain Mist.
You know, I was just looking because I just told Eva about that book.
Great.
I don't think we have a link to it. I'll have to make one.
Well, this is a great.
That's what I love that book, and I met Linda at a show one time.
Yeah.
And it's her stories about Mountain Mist are really fascinating.
Oh man, I mean, and yeah, she is like, and her mom was a very important person in the world of quilts and quilt collecting. There's actually a gallery named for her mom at the Quilt Museum. I'm just wondering if that, well, I guess what's this called? It's called Country Garden Mountain. Okay, this one does not seem to be in the book, but there are many other Mountain Mist quilts in the book, and it's great. So you should get it. Okay, so what do you think, Slim? Is this, I mean, I hope this is, I mean, this one's for you. And you know, when I was first starting to make stuff, like people would be like, and then you just cut this and then you're fine and you've got your unit. And I'm like, I don't even know what you said. I have no idea. So it's okay if you just kind of don't, you know, just enjoy the view, I guess. Okay, here. This is the one. This is the one I've got from Quilt Treasures of Great Britain. Okay? I thought this was interesting because I was thinking about a frame quilt. I was like, oh, I should get a frame quilt to show Slim and everybody else, you know, about construction, because frame quilts are, you know, fairly straightforward. You just sort of build a center and then you build, you know, frames around the center in all kinds of different configurations. This is sort of a frame quilt, and yet, I don't know. This one is very beautiful, and to me, daunting. But you know what? But by the way, the frame quilt, it's very old style, iconic, you know, straightforward, a frame quilt. I suggest to anyone who wants to make a quilt, what about a frame quilt? What kind of frame quilt would you make, you know? So, okay, so this one, what is the story here? Okay. So this is, so this is all UK stuff. So I'm just going to pick up where they start talking about this. Heels Mansard Gallery. So HEAL''S. Marianne Teakake would probably know that place. So I'm just jumping in the middle of this. We'll have to get the context just because we're listening and we're smart. Okay, yet another kind of professional endeavor involving handicrafts, including quilts and textiles, was that launched in 1917 by the London-based furnishing store Heels on Tottenham Court Road. I know where that is, in London. The store's Mansard Gallery on the 4th floor had been opened for the purpose of enticing customers to the top floor, but its regular exhibitions of textiles, pottery, and furniture made it a popular venue for new ideas in art and design. Oh, cool. The gallery was run by Prudence Mauff from 1917 until the 1960s, closing during World War II. Oh my God, I didn't know there was a World War II connection to this. Weird. When the store was completely taken over by hundreds of machinists who made parachutes and blackout material. Wow. Mrs. Mauff, described by Sir Hugh Casson as formidable, centre-parting, full skirts and buckled shoes. Wow. Set up the textile department in the store, and in 1939 became a director. She proved very enterprising. Okay, here we go. She proved very enterprising, especially after World War II, when materials were scarce. She went around country houses and fabric manufacturers looking for old and interesting fabrics, which could be recycled into quilts and wall hangings for the gallery's selling exhibitions. This is fascinating. Oh my God, this is Quilt Church stuff. Held once a year, these exhibitions were immensely successful and gave a great deal of work to talented needlewomen. The standard of work was very high. The quilt in figure 115, here we go, purchased at the gallery in 1953, is made of military uniform material, men's suitings and tweeds, barathia and livery cloth, all accurately machine pieced in geometric shapes. Well, this is 5 feet 1 inch by 6 feet 3 inches. And it's just, so this is an example of a mansard gallery quilt made of military cloth, backed with striped brown and beige wool and bound with a mauve and white machine-made braid. How cool is this quilt? I want to know everything about this gallery. How cool is that? I just liked it. And I was like, oh, the construction on that would be interesting to talk about. And now here, good heavens. Quilts, man. Like, art history. I don't know. Go ahead, study Rembrandt if you want to. But this stuff is really cool. So, I mean, yes, machine stitching those fabrics in those shapes. So how, I mean, you have to start a frame quilt at the center, right? And actually, I mean, this, I mean, okay. That is a shape that we see, you know, that like sort of like ball. Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Yeah, that's the kaleidoscope,
yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
that centerpiece.
Yes.
And it's like, because the triangles, well, I don't know though, those triangles are kind of an odd, like, they've got an odd slant.
They do.
Those, like, the light, very light color ones, like the ecru ones.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of an odd
they
slant.
do.
I keep thinking, I think it was Raffle. She made an actual kaleidoscope quilt, and I mean, they look round, but they are not.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
Like those those triangles are flat, but I feel like this, though, as you get further out, everything is round.
Yes.
And I don't.
Yes. Hang on.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, hang on. I've got a kaleidoscope quilt here. Someplace.
I feel like nowadays people would use, like, they make those medallion or those Mariner's Compass templates where you foundation paper piece. I feel like that's the only way to do this without making yourself crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, it's kind of funny, you know, because the circle does stop at a certain point. It's like, okay, I'm going to square this off. You know, right about here. God, I keep doing that. Right about here. And then I'm going to just add some lovely, easy square, you know, diamond borders. But I mean, it's really, really great, right? I love this.
Finn McCool's mom just said I would do it with English paper piecing. I too would do it with English paper piecing. Although I well, I don't know though. It's a British quilt, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they did it that way.
Maybe they did it.
Could be.
I'm looking up. I'm gonna grab a kaleidoscope quilt real quick. Jonathan Holstein had a really good one. Yeah, there it is. In the famous Whitney show. It's a classic. And it's good to see. Hang on. No, I want a better picture of it. It's good to see. Yeah, what Steph's talking about. It's a very good call. Here we go. Kaleidoscope. That's a really beautiful word. You know, Kalei. It's nice. Okay, collection. Holstein. There it is. I made a kaleidoscope quilt, and it was one of my favorites ever. Okay, here we go. Right here. I'm gonna pull it down over here. I think it's worth taking a look at. Open. Desktop, yes, very good. Okay, here it is. So there is no circle, and there's no curved seam in this quilt. The block. That is one block. And if you can see, yes, this right here. Okay. Let me do this. Can I draw? No. So there's this. No, can't do that. There's a block. There's one block in the quilt. Just one block. There's only there's no alternating block in this quilt. But what happens and how it works is that you alternate where the darks and the lights go in the block. So, for example, and there's a little bit of, they didn't go too hardcore. Well, they kind of did. So here, look. So here in this block, do you see the X? It's sort of like almost like a medieval sort of, X shape or something like that. It's like these 4 triangles, 60 degree.
Like a Maltese-ish cross kind of.
Yes. So like here, those are dark. It makes like an X marks the spot. There's darker fabrics set on lighter fabrics. And then if you go over here, this is really the Maltese cross kind of thing. So now you have the darker fabrics in a different spot, right? So if you kind of squint your eyes, now the X marks the spot is the lighter fabrics. So you just switch back and forth. You make a whole lot of blocks that have the dark as the X marks the spot block, and you make a whole lot of blocks, put them side by side, that have the like Maltese cross, shape in the dark fabrics. Does that make sense? It is really, really a great quilt and a lot of fun. And I did paper piece it. There is like a theme tonight of the paper piecing, but Lisa, you said it. The value does the work. Absolutely. The color choices do the work. Yeah, the contrast does the work. It's great. It's a great quilt. Okay. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick break and then come back and finish the stuff. Does that sound good? Okay, are you ready for a cake break?
I am ready for a cake break.
Love it. Okay.
I have no Dunton gossip, but I do have fun things to talk about.
Excellent. Oh yeah, because the show. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, there are really fun things to talk about. Okay, let me. Oh no, my green screen's showing. Okay, I will be right back, and I want to hear these things. I know a little bit about the show that you went to today, you and Jill, but I'll be right back. Can you tell the people? Okay.
So, I literally just flew in from Pennsylvania like an hour and a half before the show, and boy, are my arms tired. Just kidding. My mom and I were up in Pennsylvania with Jill Alex, who is still there, and some really awesome people at an event called the Penn Dry Goods Market. And it is at a place called the Schwenkfelder History and Heritage Library and Heritage Center. It's in a town called Pennsburg, which is kind of like north of Philadelphia, kind of the eastern side of Pennsylvania. Waka waka. Yes, I love a Fozzie Bear. But so Pennsburg it's kind of I guess it's really kind of a Pennsylvania Dutch area. It's not Amish. That's kind of the other side. But they have this, I guess it's just this community that is kind of like built over the years. I think that was probably, the area was founded like in the 1700s. And so they have this great center there, and they do all kinds of things there. They have like genealogy stuff, and I wish I lived closer because it seems like it'd be really fun to go and like some of their regular programs they do there. But once a year, they hold this thing, the Penn Dry Goods Market, and what it is like an antique show. And I think they had about 25 or 30 vendors. And then they also have this lecture series that goes along with the antique show. So like literally you could go sit in a lecture and learn about a certain type of quilt. And they kind of, I think a lot of the stuff they talked about was very like Pennsylvania centric. But you could literally learn about a quilt, or one of the lectures I went to was about this little sewing rolls that people would make to keep their little, things in. Often they're called a housewife. And so
I heard sewing rolls, and I was like, that sounds delicious. Yeah.
Yum. So you would learn about these things in these lectures, and then you could go to the antique show and buy the darn things. So it's a really smart thing they do, putting together this show. But it's so much fun, and I made new friends, and Jill and I hobnobbed and schmoozed with some serious OGs. had dinner with somebody. I'm not going to name drop because, you know, I'm not like that, but it was one of the know-it-alls that we had dinner with last night, along with some other people, some other folks who have written books that are amazing and have done awesome lectures and all that stuff. And we were just absolutely giddy. So cool. What I would say to you guys is any of you that are within, like, say, driving distance of like central Pennsylvania, really consider it next year because it's a lot of fun. You know, it's not terribly pricey. I think maybe each of the lectures were like $25.
I gotta go.
And if you just wanted to go to the antique show, it was like $6. You know, it was just one of those things where, you know, it was just fun and yeah. So it was just really exciting. And yes, like absolutely not allowed to make new friends, but I bring them here and they become nerds, right? Like
it's great. If you bring them into the fold, Steph, you can have other people in your life.
Yes. Yes, Jill was shilling real hard for the show. So I hope out there in the lurker lounge we have some of our new friends.
That would be great. That would be so great.
Yeah. But yeah, for those of you that are like hardcore into the history part of all of this, you would absolutely love it because it was just so much fun.
I really wanted to go. As soon as Jill sent me the link, I was like, man, that's like right up the Quilt Nerd alley, you know? But
yeah,
I've been traveling so much I couldn't do it. Do it. And, but next year, man, I'm totally going to go. Because, like, Quilt Nerd should have, like, a meetup there and, like, I don't know. Maybe there could be, like, a Quilt Nerd capsule show. I don't even know what that means. But I don't know. I just feel like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, it was something, yes, I will drop a link in there in a second, Kathy. So it was something, actually, Jill is the one who told me about it last year. She was going to it or had just gone to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is drivable from my house, you know? And so my mom came up and we drove up there, got a hotel room for 2 nights and you know, I mean, it's kind of one of those little towns that was probably very rural until recently. Oh, you know, they had the little main street and beyond the little main street, it's all like super rural. But now they have like, there's, you know, a Dunkin' Donuts and a bunch of hotels like dropped right in the middle of some fields.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm so glad. I need my Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes. Oh, so Finn McCool's mom, you need to go next year. Yeah. Start saving if you need to travel.
Yeah, exactly. Finn, I mean, I think the gang's going to be there. I think we all going to be there. I really do want to go. And so, cool. Awesome report. I love it. Welcome back. And yeah, I'm glad you went. And those people that you talked to, pretty awesome. The network keeps growing, man. The network keeps growing. You just put it out there in the universe. And there it is. Okay, so we've got a little bit more with this, okay? So we looked at older stuff. We looked at, you know, stuff that was vintage, stuff that was antique. But now I want to look at this because I know that Slim, are you still out there? Probably. You don't have to say anything. Maybe you're having spaghetti and you don't have to do anything. But being an art student, as you are, or at least, you know, as a person who studies art, you know, in a formal way, this is a great book. This is a great book. This is from, 1981 or something like that, as I mentioned. And it is, it's dedicated to Harriet Powers, by the way. Cool. And this is, listen to this intro. Like jazz, I mean, do we like it already? Yes. Like jazz, the patchwork quilt is an indigenous American art form. And like its musical counterpart, the quilt is a cacophony of colorful, textural, often disparate elements arranged into a rhythmic, vibrant composition. The history of the American quilt is by now well known. Its roots go deep into other cultures, but the flowering of its expression has taken place here. Then they say something about colonial women, which is wrong. But that's fine. Everyone says that. People in the colonies did not make quilts, but that's okay. That's our quilt nerd snobbery moment. It's like, we know better than that. Okay, because there was no fabric back then. Okay, anyway, there's very little. So anyway, but quilt making was an integral part of a woman's workday, along with cooking and cleaning, laundry, mending, child caring, wood chopping, and gardening. Anyway, it's good. But what it has is some really wonderful quilts in it, and some wonderful artists. And I thought some of these were really worth looking at. And also, man, if you're going to take a picture, like if you need like an artist picture or like your next headshot, you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously this is for a book and they had a photographer. They sent this photographer to meet Nancy Clearwater Herman, who is in this book. What a cool picture, you know? Like, God, like sit like that in front of your quilt the next time somebody's like, we need to take a professional photo of you for this thing that we're doing, or you need pictures because you're sending out, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. But sometimes you need pictures of yourself, you know? Maybe you want to start lecturing. Yeah, maybe you want to start lecturing because you are a Quilt Nerd history person and you're like, you know what? I know a lot about a thing and I want to start lecturing, and so I'm going to send out some stuff to guilds in my area and I give a talk about a thing. Well, maybe you need a picture. They want a picture. You got to have a picture. So if you need a picture of yourself, sit akimbo like that in front of it. Really, it's great, right? I mean, it's a really...
That's like a seated Wonder Woman power pose.
Surely is, and it's great. And I love her crocheted top. I want it, but my boobs are too big. But anyway, so this is, and I want to read this to you. So Nancy Clearwater Herman says, I am an artist who is primarily interested in color progressions, the way colors change one another as they move from the center to the outside edge of a composition. I work in paint as well as fabric, and I am at present working with computer graphics. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop. I use fabric because of the beauty of its texture and the richness of the patterns available. Using a variety of prints in one work is like having the talents of several artists at your disposal for so much a yard. I think of the prints as chords and the solids as notes in a melody, satins as the instruments that play light colors beautifully, and velvets as instruments rich in low tones. Ooh, girl. I model all my work after music because I feel it stands alone as an art form that can move the emotions to great depths without reference to anything but itself. Damn. Okay, Nancy. So, oh yeah, and then this is the color version, which I just happened to see on the back. Pretty great. Okay, but here. So this is the quilt, okay? And this is the full page of the book. Like, this is the full spread here. And I kept both in the frame because yeah, there's this great detail shot. But here's the quilt, okay? How does it go together? And maybe, probably, this detail shot is going to give us some clues. But, I mean, maybe not obviously, it's strips, but how? So, I want to leave the whole thing on the screen for a minute, and then I can zoom in. What do you think, Stephanie? Was that dialing sound that Quilt Nerd? Yeah, I made that beep boop boop beep boop. Do you mean that? Do you mean that, L Riggs? Yeah. She said computer graphics and it was the 80s, so I was like beep boop boop beep boop. Yeah.
So, my guess on this one would be that.
I know.
You know, I'm not sure. I could see that. Okay, so I think like the centerpiece. The center block that sort of, I mean, it reads kind of lavender to me, but I don't know if that's
yes
floral.
Right, it's not a
that
great
piece
picture.
in the center.
Yeah.
I could see that was like strip pieced in quarters probably, and then put together, kind of almost like a quarter of a quarter of a log cabin.
Yep. I see that log cabin.
Then I'm looking at like the lines coming out, and I'm like, okay, I could see those being pieced as borders.
Yes,
You know,
okay.
pieced together and
Yes.
then put around. But I
Like
can
a frame
also
quilt,
see
like the frame,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
But I can also see her doing it the other way. But you know what? I think that doesn't make sense. Well, I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But you know what? Okay, I think you've got it. By Jove, I think you've got it. Because if she did this center square first, The reason it looks so crazy is because if she did add these frames, like if she added that gold frame, the reason it's cray-cray is because she's using the same print in the blue, you know, you see it, right? Like the blue center has that flowery.
Like radiating
exactly.
Out. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then she does the same thing on the other half of of this gold, but she puts it into the blue. Like, I mean, I didn't even notice that before, but that's why this is fun, right? But like, yeah, there's like stripes within stripes. Because you see that,
and
like,
they're so she's done such an excellent job of matching them that it's really it's hard to tell. Like it's very seamless.
It's hard to tell, and when you zoom out, like that gold. Sorry, let me come in a little bit more. That gold frame seems to truly stretch into the blue frame, like just a little. You know, like it is fully like cut square. There is no variation in the border of that particular color field. It's cut off laser straight, but the way it looks is like it looks like a basket or something. It's pretty awesome. Couldn't it be just 4 triangles? Oh, says Finn McCool. Hey, Earth Girl. I love the visual flow too. I love your visual flow. 4 triangles. Oh yeah. But yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. 4 triangles coming in to the center, like basically bisecting what you're saying is like this. Like if you draw a line diagonally through this, you can kind of see how it could be triangles. But you know what? I love the way your brain is working. Too much bias. I think it would be too much bias. It would be difficult, right?
Yeah, I strongly feel like this is a situation of kind of like a quarter log cabin assembly that meets some strip sets. And it's so well matched that it's just, I mean, that's why we're stymied here. But then Robin's saying it's all strips. So, well, I mean, it is, yes. I guess even if they're like this log cabin-y situation, it's still going to be strips.
It's so great, right? It's a great quilt, and yeah, it almost looks like this is like twill or like upholstery fabric or something. Anyway, nice work, Nancy. This one, I just really like it. This is called Southwestern Festival. It was made in 1980. Julie Roach Burner. She says, in making a quilt, I can design color. Oh, sorry. In making a quilt, I can design, color, cut, and assemble pieces to make an integrated whole. This one, oh, it's a kaleidoscope. Look at that. It's a kaleidoscope, right? Do you see it? I could not see it until I zoomed in, but it is. That's it. That's our kaleidoscope. It's a little skinnier, you know, in its pieces. Right? It's a kaleidoscope. But it's got different colors on the. Yes, it is. It's a kaleidoscope, and that's your block. So she's got different colors on the outside edges, you know, but that's just straight up. That's so crazy because we just looked at them. That's all this is. That's all it is. And half square triangles. Oh, y'all, you could make this.
It's the way she's paired them that makes it look so complicated.
Exactly.
It's the like Lisa said, the values, and in this case, it's the actual colors with the values are doing all the work.
Lisa?
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
We play that when someone is very smart, like Lisa. From Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, of course. Yeah. Half square triangles, done. Kaleidoscope, you can Google it now. Oh, she did something else. Kaleidoscope, quilt block. You can get it tonight. You could start something like this tonight. And look what else she did. Do you see what else she did? She cut her blocks. She sliced her blocks off. Adding to the whoa, right? Like the asymmetry, but also like the interruption. Like she interrupted them. And let me tell you, if you've never cut a block in half that you made, it's pretty thrilling. like figuring out like a half a block for like the corner of a quilt. We did that on the show with my mom sometimes, where it's like you could try to measure how to make a half a block, or you could just make a block and cut it in half. I mean, but you got to leave the seam allowance though on the outside edge. Anyway, but that's another thing that she did, right? She cut off her blocks. Ooh, look at that one. That really adds a lot. It does a lot. It does a lot for this quilt. And I love it. And there's a black and white. They put it in black and white. Wow. I mean, that's wild. It's tied. Interesting. Very interesting. It's crack up. The hoo. The hoo. Slim Quilt Pants, I'm looking for you. I'm watching for you. Because if you have any questions, you know, I'm here for it. Very interesting. And then this is, okay, and then this is her. Look at this. This is her. I began making quilts during my junior year as a textiles, what page, 53? Hold on. 53. I began making quilts during my junior year as a textiles major at the Kansas City Art Institute. Before that, I was making rugs in which the pattern was an integral part of the weaving. Nancy Crow was a weaver. I am particularly fond of color and the movement of pattern. In making a quilt, I can design, color, cut, and assemble pieces to make an integrated whole. The great variety of patterns, materials, and fabrics available add to the possibilities. I enjoy this multifaceted process and respect the time and skill that goes into the making of a beautiful quilt. Cool. So cool. Okay, I got one more. Oh. Yeah, I got one more. This is it. Pamela Jean Berg. She says, quote, "My intention is to make a fine art statement that employs a reference to the textile arts and my personal associations with interior architectural spaces." I'm telling you, you get that Abe Books link and you go get this book. It's great. And this one, I think, is sort of, in terms of construction, I mean, this is easy. Hey, Bevington 321, thanks for following the stream. Thanks for watching. This is just a half, oh, good heaven's sakes. That's a half square triangle made of, I think that's just a striped fabric, right? Which is very smart. You can use stripes,
I was
man.
wondering, I was like, they use striped fabrics, or did they piece all that? I too would have used a striped fabric.
Oh, hell yes. And I think she used a striped fabric a lot. I think that this is a lot less complicated than it appears upon looking at this. Now, some of these things look really complicated. Like, that looks very complicated to me, but that red and green, that's a stripe. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it appears to be a stripe. And the red, and I don't know, this picture, I mean, the book is kind of old. The pictures are pretty darn good, but they're not like super, super high res. But I think there's a lot of striped fabric being employed here. And you know who else does that really well? Kaif Fassett, you know? He'll use a stripe or a print, very smart, you know, to make it look like you pieced a zillion little tiny strips together when really you're just using a stripe. But I still think this quilt is really cool, and I don't understand it. Does anybody understand it? Don't make it all easy. Yeah. Oh, and the Flinster. True. Stripes are hard. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Like, they're hard to use well, and if you're gonna match them, like, oh God, I mean, how do fashion people do it? How do you match like a striped jacket? Like, oh God. Yeah. Stephanie's like.
Yeah. So those of you that also do garment sewing, and you know, you'll get the pattern and it'll say, oh, you need like 2 yards for this, or you're gonna want like 5 yards if you got to match a plaid. It's crazy.
And on Savile Row, they're like,
I've never had a stripe or a plaid that matches, you know.
I mean, you pay the big bucks for that stuff, you know, in the stores and everything. Oh man, but boy, it looks sharp. Too rich for my blood. Anyway. So pretty interesting. And I would say, like, the pink squares, you know, obviously that's solid. And then this blue, you know, the blue that's kind of really nestled around all those pink squares, it's a striped fabric. I feel confident that it is. Anyway. And she's got, you know, look at it's fascinating, right? Analyzing things. You know, we should do this. We should definitely do this like every month for sure. It's fun, right? But like, there's pink solid squares, there's blue solid squares, there's brown solid squares. Like, there's more Like, and then she's got these striped half square triangles. I mean, there's a lot of work in here. I'm not trying to be like, she didn't really do that much. This wouldn't be that hard. But like, there are units in this quilt that are intense. Maybe they're paper pieced. I don't know. But then there's
everything that looks like they're almost like little doorways, right?
Yes.
Was that what you were about to say?
Yes.
Yeah, like I feel like those are like the more intense
Exactly.
piecing.
Exactly. But then the half square triangles, not bad. Just using a striped fabric to great advantage. And then you've got these patches, you know? So the work is really in these sort of MC Escher like things. Interesting. Really interesting. Doors and windows, exactly Jacob Jelly's, same. Yeah. Yep. Neflinster says there's a lot of the same block, essentially 4 of the same block in the top row, just different straight back. Exactly. So Pamela Jean Berg, well done. Well done, laddie. Okay, that's it. So it's, you know what? It's like, what time is it? 9:30. Okay, well, we're going to watch one quick video that I had queued up because it's great. It's great. Like I was saying earlier, I needed to re-up my PBS Passport subscription, and it's $10 a month. And I like PBS. I support what they do. Sesame Street taught me everything I know. PBS NewsHour is great. I PBS, love of quilting, great quilt programming. And so I was like, I gotta, I'm watching the pennies, gotta watch your pennies, but $10 a month to support PBS and be that person, I did it. So if you feel like that about Quilt Nerd, I know I'm not PBS, but I might arguably need your subscription more than PBS, but I don't know. But anyway, if you like content that people produce, it does take a lot of money and time to make it. So when you subscribe or you become a member, it's very important. So if you haven't subscribed to Quilt Nerd yet, I so hope you'll think about doing it. And think about it this way. $10 a month for me to get PBS. You're enjoying the fruits of that right now, because we're going to watch this 5-minute video about Sydney Snell, who's also an art quilter. So this dovetails nicely. It's going to finish the show out really well. And so I'm passing the benefit on to you because we're going to watch it together. So somebody subscribe at tier 2 or tier 3, right now, and you'll pay for the PBS subscription for Quilt Nerd. You see? Okay. It's probably the best sales pitch I've ever done, and it was still not amazing. Okay. So this is Sydney Snell, and this is a video that was made, I'm not sure when it was filmed, but not too long ago. And let's watch it together. She's out in Oregon, and she's a very interesting art quilter or studio quilter, we call them, who has some really interesting techniques. So let's check it out. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's great. Okay.
I like the shapes that this decay happens in. And I like the colors that come out when it happens.
Yeah, they look great.
And I like the sense of it being changed, I guess, weathered. I don't know. I just like it.
I had the chat off the whole time, but this is probably okay. With the design, okay.
I'm happy. I got everything I want for the day.
Hey, Lisa.
I am a textile artist. I work in the format of quilts.
I like how she said,
I join different pieces of...
I like how she said, I'm a textile artist and I work in the format of quilts. Cool. Not like I'm a quilter who makes art quilts,
fabric together, layer them, and stitch them to create things that look brick together.
Sorry, I want to go back. Sorry.
I join different pieces of fabric together layer them, and stitch them to create things that look like paintings.
Sydney Snell started her journey as an artist with a career in electrical engineering.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't that I made things or even that I designed things. I designed or improved the process of making something.
Sydney invented the process she uses to transform inspiration into art quilts.
Oh, wow. I think this, yeah, okay, sorry. I think maybe the piece that we saw her taking pictures for, I think that's in the Sakwa Gallery. I think that's where I saw it, but yeah. So, I mean, just think about the difference between, you know, constructing a quilt like in this way, taking this kind of approach, this process, compared to what, you know, some of these people were doing, right? Which is, you know, just, you know, cutting and sewing and pressing and things. This is a whole different thing, different technologies, you know, change the way we make quilts. Oh my gosh, Bevington, Bev, oh, sorry. Bev, you came over from the YouTubes. I'm so happy to see you, Bev, I gotta say hi. The welcome baskets that are coming to you in the chat, they're for you. And I'm gonna put some in there as well. We have had such a good time. Cake, it's been a really fun show, right? Like, analyzing those quilts is a blast. I think it's just a blast. Okay. So, Bev, welcome. I'm really glad you're here. Everybody is. Okay, let's go back. There's that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Seeing the photographs on her computer is the beginning of her creative process.
I look at the pictures, and sometimes there's disappointments. You know, it's like, oh, I thought that was going to be really cool, and it's kind of eh. And other times it's like, well, I thought that was going to be cool, but I didn't know it was going to be this cool. So it's a second surprise.
She highlights a small part of one photograph, crops and resizes, then takes out the color.
Oh, wow.
Her goal is a line drawn.
Wow, that's cool. Hold on. I got to see that again. Wow. That operating system looks a little bit older. I think maybe this is not like within the past 5 years. I'll check, but we're watching Sydney Snell from Oregon talk about her process. That's really interesting. Does anybody know what program she's using? Is that some sort of CAD thing? I don't know.
It's Photoshop.
Photoshop, okay.
Her goal is a line drawing that will serve as an outline, a paint by numbers for her quilt design.
At this point, I see a jigsaw puzzle. I never really know what's going to happen until I get started. I think some people think this is a tedious thing to do, and it can be if I'm not in the right mood, but it's very, very meditative. Because tracing, I don't know if you remember from when you were a kid, you can just lose yourself in it. It's just the point, matching the point of the pen to the line.
Oh my God, tracing. Tracing. I love tracing. Oh my God, the tracing. Okay. Oh, that's great.
That you're seeing, and you can stop thinking while you're doing it.
God, yes. Give it up for Oregon Public Television. This segment is amazing. The music is fabulous.
She layers pieces of fabric in different colors to fill in the design and bring the image out. It's a painstaking process of sewing, cutting, and sewing again.
Huh.
I wanted to get the fabric in those places, and I wanted to do it in a way that wasn't so fussy and so tedious that it made me completely crazy.
Wow.
What I try to do when I start quilting is I quilt around the edges like this, of all of the different colors. And part of the reason that I do that is because I want the edges to blur, to soften. So
She's going so quickly. Oh God. Oh my God.
if you can see, this purple starts to move into this purple and vice versa. And by the time I finish the whole thing, it softens all of the edges.
Did you see that? I want to show you. I want to go back. So yeah, the darker purple, you know, around that darker purple section is coming into the lighter purple, and vice versa. It's great. It's great. Great.
Whole thing, it softens all of the edges. Sometimes I will try to sew as fast as I can so that I don't make every stitch the same length and be exactly the same distance from the edge. I want it to look hand done.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that one. That one. That one's great with the red. Okay.
When I look at them, I often see the experience that I had. If it was a quilt that was difficult for me to make, I see the difficulty. If it was something that was easy for me to make, I see the pleasure. If it surprised me, I continue to see the surprise.
Oh, wow.
It turns out that this is a process that works for all of me. Just the hum, the buzz, the meditation, the thing that happens, the magic that happens. I get a lot of pleasure from doing this.
Wow. Oh, so great. So great. I liked her work. I really liked the piece that she was building in the segment. The ones that look, I like the abstract stuff, the taxi cabs and things. I like, it's fine, but that when it really gets abstract, just fabulous. So today, I went through the PBS Passport membership, and I tagged and put on my list like 160 different quilt related segments on PBS. So, this show's going to go on a long time. So, because there's so much to see and talk about. So everybody, drink wine and so in. I had to pop out for a FaceTime with my grandgirl. Who's this artist? Sydney Snell. Sydney's Sidnee. Sydney Snell. And she's great. We love her. We love to see it. And also, we love to see you. Everybody who came over tonight to hang out on Quilt Nerd, thank you so much. I love being here. I love it so much. And it's great to be here. I'll see you on Tuesday here at home base. And there's going to be a surprise this week. There's going to be a surprise. I haven't talked about it a lot, but Saturday night. No, Saturday night I'll be back here. So everything's at home base next week, but make sure that you subscribe to Quilt Nerd and make sure you have your notifications on, because there is a surprise stream or two coming this week from Lincoln, Nebraska at the International Quilt Museum. That's right. By the time you see me a week from tonight, I will have been to Nebraska and back. God. I don't know. But yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm doing a thing. And so you got to subscribe for special streams, and you gotta keep your notifications on, because I'm going to Nebraska, y'all. I'm gonna go to the International Quilt Museum, see my friend Elizabeth Townsend Guard from Just Wanna Quilt, and we're gonna do some fun stuff. But before then, Tuesday night's show will be great. Padma, we gotta watch that video. I had it on deck, and then Padma's got a video. We're gonna watch it on Tuesday night. That's a commitment, I promise. Thanks everybody. You're just the best. And anybody new, anybody lurking out there, thank you so much for watching the show. And to all my subscribers and regulars, thank you so much. Stephanie Cake, couldn't do it without you. Oh yeah, and Robin and Susanna.
For everybody.
Oh yeah.
The AQSG discount code, if you are not currently a member, Mary has the code for June.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, if you want to be a member of American Quilt Study Group, we have a special coupon code for Quilt Nerd people for the month of June. Quilt Nerd 15. You can get $15 off your membership, and the individual sort of basic membership is $75 a year. $75 a year, and so it's $60. In the month of June, you can be an AQSG member. And seminar open, you can sign up to go to seminars, buying tickets what'd you say, the 10th?
It's June 10th, yes, it's coming up. Yeah.
Tickets sell out for that thing. So if you're a member, you get a little advance warning. But yeah, AQSG, sign up, be a member. I'm on the board. Stephanie's presenting. Everybody's gonna be there. It's gonna be cool. It's where the cool kids are when they're not at Quilt Nerd. Okay, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Steph. Thank you, Robin. God bless you, Robin. Thank you for being Our Lady of Subscriptions, and I will see you. They don't sell out exactly, Kathy, but we're going to pack Stephanie's room, so
You know, I mean, there's the possibility that my study center will sell out.
I think it might. SRO, baby. We're going to do it. Okay. Oh my God, we should make Stephanie a cake. I just said it out loud, but we're going to do it. Okay. Love y'all a lot. Take care. It's hard for me to say goodbye. Goodbye.